The 40 Lessons Podcast is a Shining Starlet Entertainment production.
Time for another week of life, love, and everything in between on the 40 Lessons Podcast. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the 40 Lesson Podcast, where we talk about life, love, and everything in between. We did a Tori last week. Everybody decided to take a day off. We just, we wouldn't let her do it by herself. We just all said we ain't coming, So,
how does it become a Tori?
I don't know what y'all was doing last week, but we all just wanted to see what it was like not to be here either for the week. So we decided to all catch up on errands, drop off dry cleaning, water plants,
Halloween.
whatever. Oh yeah, go trick or treating, whatever grown folks and children do.
Trick or treating
on Halloween, How you doing, Tori? What's going on?
You know what? I really can't complain.
You can't complain. That would be a first, because Tori complains about just about everything in the world.
That's terrible. That's terrible to say.
Oh yeah,
I do not
boy.
complain about everything.
Well, let me see. So today we talking about all about sex.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hear noise in the background at times in the video this week, it's just Leak. She a little under the weather, but we she here being a stormtrooper, so y'all keep her in prayer. Keep on the sick and shut-in list. Pray for a healing so that she'll get better and be back at it strong full force next week. But this week,
God.
she met some little nasty boy probably and gave him a kiss.
Listen, the narrative.
I'm just playing. No, she ain't mean no little nasty. I guess she wasn't nasty. But anyway, we talking about all about sex this week. Tori, we know this is one of your favorite topics. Tori is always talking about people and their choices.
Yes.
I told her we'll be CDC for a few minutes this evening and let
We're on a tight.
let her scare the hell out of us for the next 5 minutes. Then we'll move into some other areas, So, you've announced several times in several episodes that you have your list of, what do you call it? Your
hard limits, but I found a new
limit.
phrase for it.
Because the hard limit part just sounds
So the guy,
too much to start with.
So one of the guys was like, hard limits, so I need to fill out a questionnaire. He was a little sensitive though. But quality control, that's what it's called now.
So you have a quality control list. And women have things. Women have setups. They have not necessarily setups. Women have routines or rules that they go by sometimes. Some of them is depending on how good your game is, how many drinks you bought that night, it could be popping this evening right after this bar situation, a club situation. Some women choose the Steve Harvey method, want you to be around about 90 good days, you know what I'm saying? 90 days, 3 church services, whatever come first. That's how they want to go about it. Then, some women are a little bit more detailed. Sound like your quality control measure moves into that area. Won't you tell people some of the things you require of an individual of a male or female nature, as you stated on several occasions, in reference to getting to the point of being intimate,
physically intimate,
physically intimate. Yeah, making the the walls meet or the
coitus.
Or the plug meet the socket, however the people may describe it to you, to whatever your description of that action may be, making whoopee, as some folks used to say back in the day. What does a person have to do to get to the whoopee with you?
So if we're talking trust, that's a whole other conversation. But
we hope people have got to that point.
Yeah, there have to be layers of consistency with regard to behavior and interactions, right? Okay. I'm not going to say that I had to have known the person for 18 years because that's unrealistic. I don't have any sort of, and if you do, that's your business. I don't have an opinion about it one way or the other. 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, 120 days, that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is how I feel.
Okay.
So I check in with myself regularly.
And so for the men who, are always trying to understand these situations, is this a small questionnaire that goes on in your head, or you just feel for the butterflies in your stomach? Oh, no. How does this work?
Butterflies are not to be trusted.
Wow, we don't trust butterflies.
Not when it comes to making the kind of decision that has these kinds of consequences.
Okay. No. Well, let's go ahead and talk more about that.
Butterflies are a consideration, though.
Okay. That says something is there.
Right. Okay. I'm not going to completely disregard the butterflies.
Right. Because this person making you feel warm and fuzzy ain't no small thing.
Exactly.
Because every interaction don't do that.
Rarely do I feel warm and fuzzy. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So butterflies are nice.
All right.
Yeah, but they're
if they may ever happen, but go ahead.
No, it has happened.
Oh, okay.
It has happened.
Okay.
I can count on one hand.
One hand. Happened. In some almost 40-something years, right?
I actually got a birthday coming up.
Oh.
I'll be
43.
Oh
43. Yeah. Wow.
I'll be 43.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Getting on.
That's all right. Getting better.
So let's get to the quality control list.
The quality control list. So condoms are non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. For just the dating period, or
condoms are non-negotiable
at all times
until I decide otherwise.
Is this even in a marriage situation for you? Okay, I'm just laying it out for the people. I want people to hear the whole shebang and how you go about your QC. Mm-hmm. That's all. Okay, what's next?
Although, to be fair, I've never been married.
Okay.
I have been in a long-term committed relationship, and we used condoms for the first 3 years of that 6-year relationship. So,
oh wow. Okay. All right.
So
a whole card note before he was able to get into this leather seats, huh? He had to pay that thing all the way down. He had to get past the interest period. My bad. Go ahead. The jokes just come to my head. I don't know.
This is why we spend 30 minutes.
Stuff just come to my head. I just say it. I don't know. I'm just like 36 months.
Condoms are non-negotiable. I am not dressing up like, in like schoolgirl uniforms or anything like that, or like an older person. Though that's non-negotiable.
Okay.
No bestiality.
You know what?
Bestiality. No animals.
Oh, okay. I'm learning that one. That was a new one for me. But anyway.
Like, no scat, so feces and all that. Oh. None of that.
Jesus Christ. What are people doing out there? People ask for this stuff?
People like what they like.
Wow. Just some Victoria's Secret for a brother is all I would think one need. Okay.
People like what they like.
Interesting. Go ahead. What else?
Like what they like. And if there is to be any sort of recording that happens, then we have to have a conversation prior to that in terms of what that looks like. So. But
you open to the recording. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's and of course testing.
I was just going to say, you left out the most important thing.
I completely forget it. So testing is important. And so testing within 30 days.
Okay.
So the results need to be dated within 30 days.
Okay.
It needs to be the full panel.
Okay.
And we exchange results. We can get tested together. Either way works.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talk about the results.
So. Okay. All right. Now, when y'all talk about them, y'all at dinner, y'all sitting on the porch having tea. Well, how do you set the stage for? Because I want people to understand these are not. Unfortunately, these are not normal conversations that people are having.
Right.
One of the things, I've been talking about on IGTV on 40 Lessons IG is going from I to we.
Mm-hmm. Which I love.
And a lot of things, I appreciate that. Thank you. People don't, there's a lot of things people don't think about when going from I to we. Folks get into each other, they find commonalities, they fall in love. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's wonderful and dandy, but there's some other conversations that need to be had. And, you don't have to be, today I was talking about culture. You don't have to be of a different race or culture to live culturally different.
Absolutely.
And I wanted people to understand that the way she functions culturally may not be the way you accustomed to function culturally. And when those houses come together, we could have a real problem going on if that culture situation isn't discussed and found to a compromising or collaborative place to come together.
Absolutely.
Next week I'll be talking about marrying your money, because a lot of people don't necessarily agree with that method. People still, I'm personally of the mindset, I've done it marriage before. Mm-hmm. I've done it every way you could do it. I'm telling you, it's just leaked. She all right, y'all. I'm telling you that the individuality inside marriage does not work.
How can it?
And if you're going to get married to somebody, you really need to have a full conversation with yourself, because marrying the person and not marrying y'all money is a big mistake for a whole bunch of other reasons that I'll get into later. You want to establish trust, marry y'all money. It won't be no questions about what nobody doing if everybody can see everything, but all this, separate that, you got this, you got that. So this conversation is hard, I'm sure, for people to sit down and, when they get ready to get to that physically intimate moment to have these conversations. What would you recommend for a stage setter, for environmental, or for the type of environment you want to be in when you have such a conversation? And because some people talk more freely than others. Some people can have this conversation over the phone, like it's nothing. Hey, well, meet me at the Qualis Lab tomorrow. We get this done at 3. But for other folks, it's a little bit more of a conversation to get into. 40 Lessons, a coach for life. For life coaching services, contact Dumisani and Solwazi at thereal40lessons@gmail.com. That's thereal40lessons@gmail.com.
So the question that I always start with is, if you have a hard time having a conversation about your requirements for sex, why are you having sex with this person? That's the first question that I tend to ask people. And it makes some people uncomfortable, it makes some people mad, but that's a legit question. If you are not ready to have a conversation about sex, why are you then ready to have sex, right? I suggest that the conversation happen wherever you guys agree for it to happen. I'll have it over the phone. And generally speaking, when I meet a man and he's expressing interest in dating me long term, I manage expectations from the outset, because what I don't want is, because this is one of those things that can be managed and can be controlled. There's so many things in relationships that you just need to go with. This is one of those things that can be managed and can be controlled. So if a man has expressed interest in me and, he's like, oh yeah, I really want to kick it, whatever, I'm going to say, hey, you need to understand who I am, and this is a part of who I am, and it's non-negotiable. Now there are some other things that we'll discover along the way, but this you need to understand, because again, it's something that I think is more easily definable. So have the conversation wherever you want to have the conversation, but you absolutely need to have the conversation. You need to talk about whatever and I'm not talking bodies. I want to be careful to make that distinction, because that is irrelevant to me. But for some people it's important, and that's cool. But I'm making a distinction between bodies, so partners, and actual sexual health. I'm separating those two.
Okay.
So you need to have a conversation around sexual health. Get the testing and then talk about the testing. So for example, I think the statistics say 1 in 4 people have herpes, the HSV virus, right? Whether they have HSV1 or HSV2, HSV1 being the cold sores, HSV2 being the herpes of the genitalia. I think 1 in 4 adults have it, or actually it might be higher than that. HPV is higher? Okay. So the chances are that you've encountered somebody in your lifetime, especially if you're over the age of, I would say 30, you've encountered someone who's carrying the virus.
Right.
HPV, same thing. I think HPV is the most transmitted STI of all of the STIs. Men tend to be carriers.
And that's the new kid on the block, the HPV.
The newer, yeah.
Yeah, it's the newer one.
Yeah. Men tend to be carriers and asymptomatic. Women, when they get it, that's why we get the yada, yada, yada. It can lead, not always, but it can lead to, I think, cervical cancer, not ovarian cancer. So you need to have a conversation about your sexual health.
Yeah, and you just need to know the different levels of things too. You start telling people they got herpes, they start losing their mind. And you need to do a little, and they need to do a little reading and understand the different levels of things. Having a virus presented for something and actually having outbreaks is two
different things.
Two different areas, and people need to understand one is more commonplace than you would know, because it's not really talked about, but it's as common as the common cold in a lot of situations. And the other is a little bit more. You good?
Oh,
okay.
You all right?
And the other one, pole leak. And the other one is a little bit. You have to do a little bit of work to get to it.
Yeah, you do.
I wouldn't say it's work you should do, but you have to do a little bit of work to get to it.
Right.
But it's quite possible. So we got people. We got through that. People got through the quality control piece.
Yeah,
they feeling a little safe.
Changing the results.
They changing the little results.
And now I've added a new question to
okay.
the quality control.
This should be interesting.
Well, now that we have science is amazing, medicine is amazing, and so now we have drugs that actually suppress the HIV virus to the degree that it's no longer showing up on test results.
Right.
Which is amazing. It's
it's
increasing the lifespan of all of these people. People are able to live with this virus.
But they still can pass the virus though, right?
Well, it's my understanding that they can, but I want to caveat that by saying I have not done extensive research on that, but it's my understanding that they cannot when the viral load is that low. But
I don't want to
talk to your doctor.
Right.
Which is why I'm saying this is a new conversation now that I have to introduce to the quality control talk. Not because the panel is going to show up negative. So now the question has to be, have you ever tested positive for?
Right. And you hoping for honesty in that moment.
Absolutely, I'm hoping for honesty.
You hoping for honesty in that moment.
Which is why condoms are non-negotiable.
Understandable. And look, depending on the choices you making and where you're about to go with a person, I don't think it's, far-fetched to get into a medical record conversation.
Absolutely.
Or, I mean, if you don't feel, well, let me say this. If you don't feel comfortable with the information you get, maybe this ain't somebody you should be thinking about having a long-term situation with. Hopefully the person that you would have showed you consistency and honesty and transparency in a way that makes you feel comfortable when they speak. And if you ask them something, they will tell you and they will give you honesty to the best of their knowledge and ability. Hopefully that's the case. So once y'all get past all that, get through quality control, you cleared the hump. You made it all. It's time to get on with the get down. It's time to put some sugar in the coffee. Now what?
Well, I don't think the conversation ever stops because there are levels to sexual activity. I mean, you don't necessarily have sex with somebody the first time and let them choke you. Or have sex with the first time.
Hold on, Tori. Lord have mercy. Wait a minute.
I'm just saying, there are levels to it.
You just the people need a build up. We went from the CDC to choking.
That's what I'm saying. You don't go right from, so there are levels.
Can we just get them in the regular stuff before we bring them to the to the darkness?
Darkness. Listen.
Tori took them from your test came back negative. Come here and get me choke you.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think you have to take your time to lead up to those points. So I'll say this. I still do body checks. So when I'm about to be a body check.
What's a body check, Dora?
I look at people's genitalia.
So you have the man or the woman drop their lower trousers.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit more sophisticated than that. Usually, as we're preparing to become intimate with one another, we're disrobing and we lay down, and I'd like to give a massage. And as I'm giving a massage,
I'm doing a body check. Interesting. Please let the people know what you're looking for doing your body check.
I'm looking for genital herpes. I'm looking for genital warts. I'm looking for lesions, especially anything that is open, broken skin, oozing, any sort of,
Have you ever read up on any of this?
Thankfully, no.
Okay. Jesus.
Thankfully, no.
Woo. Golly, man, I tell you. So for all you Tinder people out there that's Tinder dating and swiping left and swiping right, you better make sure that burial insurance is in place. Good Lord. But listen, I think the dating app game, has really taken this stuff to a whole nother level. people have really, been playing with playing with their lives. Let's not say house money. They've been playing with their lives in this dating game, all this stuff that seems cool and seems trendy, and I'm free. It's my body. I can do what I want with it. I'm not gonna be sexually oppressed and all that. Yeah, I know, but you're gonna be sexually diseased if you don't slow down and have some caution in how you going about some of these things. Everybody ain't to be humped.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's, I think people underestimate the transfer of energy in that moment by letting someone get that close to your body, and your bodies are literally connecting in that action. Fortunately, I'm happy enough that I've matured to the point of not lessening that moment, and understanding how trivial it's been treated over the years. And I just think this dating app thing has took it to a whole nother level where people are just using these dating apps to find their next conquest, and they just, tagging that person, throwing that person to the side, and now you got this melting pot of could be infectious stuff going around. And then you see posts from major cities where the HIV rate is 70 plus, and it's like, man, who do you date in that situation?
I think, I am a fan of people having sex for the reasons that they want to have sex. What I want people to do is understand why you are doing what you're doing. That's what's critical for me.
Tori Strickland presents Weightless, now available on Amazon.
If you are having casual sex, or sport sex, as some people refer to it, why are you doing it? That's really, even if you're saying, I want to make someone wait 120 days, why? Just understand why you are doing it. And if your why doesn't make sense, so like you're saying, I hear some women say, oh, I'm going to make them wait 90 days. And then once 90 days comes, somehow that validates something. No, that doesn't validate anything. If you are waiting 90 days, it should be because there is something inside of you that needs that time to evolve and grow and develop. It doesn't have anything to do with him.
Absolutely. I think one of my things with that is, when I got to a mature place in dating, I didn't want that in the mix, because I think sometimes the physical activity clouds judgment, and once you connect intimately like that, emotions, depending on how great it is, or if it's not great, emotions gonna go one way or the other. They're gonna either go, let me get out of this, or they're gonna expand and grow. And they're gonna expand and grow at a more of a faster rate because of that energy transfer and things of that nature. I try to, I appreciate the fact of not having judgment clouded in that mix. So what you feel is what you feel. It's based on just that person. It's not based on anything extra. You're not making a decision, or I feel you're not making a decision that's overly emotional. You're making one from a conscious place. And you're deciding to take that next step because your emotions have reached a place of maturity that makes you feel that way naturally, not because you rushed into something physical.
So that will require a belief in every sexual exchange involving emotion, and I don't believe that.
Well, I guess in that particular situation, I don't want to have one if it don't involve emotion.
Well, that's a different, yeah.
And I think because I'm searching for something higher.
I'm speaking from something else. I get that.
Well, I'm speaking from a person who's looking for commitment, marriage, things of that nature.
Something else.
That's a different element I'm going for. Yeah. I think, if that ain't what you're going for, then you wouldn't even.
Right. I'm always cautious.
You're just looking for physical attributes.
Gratification, which is totally fine, and that's what I want people to understand. Physical gratification is fine. What I am not a fan of is you operating, whether you're a person who's saying, I'm dating with a purpose, I'm dating to get married, or you're a person who's saying, I just want to smash and that. why are you doing these things? Have you gone inward to identify why you are seeking a relationship? Because if you're just seeking a relationship because you don't want to be by yourself, that's a problem for me. Even if you wait in 90 days, 120 days, or 6 months. If your primary reason for going into a relationship, which I have heard and seen, is because you don't want to be by yourself, and I've heard that more from women than from men, you got a problem. That's not a reason to enter into a relationship because you don't want to be by yourself.
I'm struggling with the physical gratification piece. I don't know if I'm okay with that being on somebody's list. I don't.
With them wanting only physical gratification?
I don't even know. In my mind, I don't even know if physical gratification is even attainable. I guess that's where I'm going with.
What do you mean?
I think those moments. I think that moment is no different than somebody smoking weed, right? You high for a moment, but the high comes down. There's nothing ever truly gratifying, in my personal opinion.
About orgasms?
Well, no, I'm not.
I'm just trying to understand what aspect of physical gratification.
I mean, I guess if that's all you're going for, I guess however you get it is what you're saying. However you get it. I guess for me, it ain't about the climax. It's about who I'm with that creates the climax. Because I believe the climax have different levels when the right person is in place.
You mean the right person who knows how to help you climax?
The emotions, the feelings, all those things for me. It's bigger than just the physical aspect. I think when all the other things that come into the love and the mix and the emotions and the feelings and the intimacy, I think it takes the physical thing up another level when that stuff is right and it's in my opinion sacred to one person. I think people are cheating themselves physically by spreading themselves thin sometimes. I don't ever think they would. I think when you finally find yourself in the true essence of love, you will experience a physical gratification that you didn't even know was possible. When those two people are operating in an energy climate that has no words to it. When you connected in such a way that you didn't even realize was possible until it happened. That takes everything else to a whole nother stratosphere.
So I think, again, we're talking about two different things. I think we are talking about, on the one hand, someone who is seeking a form of emotional fulfillment, and physical gratification is a part of that. And I think there are people, though, who are interested in physical gratification only. And what I'm saying is either of those things are okay. I just think you have to know why you are doing the things that you are doing. I have loved several men. I have slept with several of them. The best sex that I've ever had was with a man that I did not love. Now, could that mean that I have not experienced what you're talking about? Absolutely. But I have experienced very, 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 very good sex. And it was not necessarily with
Tori, the hell you say?
I'm just saying. So I think it's critical. So I just want us all to know why we are doing the things that we are doing. I am not here to dictate to you whether you do it in a relationship or you are doing it because that's what you would. Just know why you are doing it. I think that makes the choices clearer, and I think it makes the conversations easier to have if you know why. Because you can stand by it. I had a guy I actually was very physically attracted to, and I'm like, well, hey, we need to exchange results. Was willing to give me HIV results, but when I was like, okay, but there are other STIs, and he's like, oh, I'm good. And I'm like, well, I'd like to see that. And I want to share. He's like, oh, well, it's good. It's good. I mean, I'm just saying, you got my HIV. And I'm like,
it's bigger than that for me.
It's a hard limit for me. So unfortunately, we could move forward. He called me difficult and, whatever. I ain't tripping. It is because there are other men to sleep with. So we could keep it moving. But I think because I understand who I am in this instance, I'm able to very clearly express that to people.
And man, it's, always find good topics that we have to put a hard bookend on for a moment, and, and we'll move into the 40 lesson moment. I guess, what we ultimately saying is, you're grown, you're going to do what you're going to do. What we're trying to tell you to do is have some consciousness about your body, and if you care enough about the other person and they're not conscious for themselves, be conscious for them. We want you to be safe in what you're doing. Yes. We want you to be very proactive about how you go about your lifestyle. Because, everybody got a lifestyle of some shape, form, or fashion. I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to tell you to be safe as possible. Try to know as much about your situation as you possibly can. And, be very trusting of the person that you're giving that type of access to. Because that type of access is not one that should be taken for granted. We would hope that if you are believing that you are in a committed relationship, that's what you in, that you ain't in with a relationship with somebody that's in and out of everybody's bed, and here you are, raw and free without no saran wrap with somebody that's, doing you the same way they do somebody else. So we're just telling you to have some conversations,
absolutely,
to think about some things,
absolutely,
to not take things for granted, to not assume.
Yes.
It's one thing to be lied to. It's another thing to never have asked a question.
Oh, absolutely.
That was good. Hey, man, as always, we need y'all to follow us on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Please engage. Drop a comment in the inbox. Y'all been commenting in the inbox. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the well wishes. I'm glad to hear you enjoying some of the commentary and things of that nature. As always, you can follow me at 40 Lessons on IG.
At Tori Strick on IG.
We are executive produced by Shining Starlet Entertainment, who is sick and downtrodden.
Oh, baby. She
gonna be on the sick and shut-in list for a couple more days, but we're gonna get her well and have her strong and ready to go next week. And she's going to probably invest in Kleenex by the time the week is over, but that's going to be okay too. We'll be back next week. Don't know what we talking about next week, but we'll talk about it once we figure that out. We're going to be back next week. We back in schedule. We got probably about 4 shows left here in the month of November, and we'll be wrapping for the holidays and all that good stuff.
Ooh, holidays.
And then we will see what the future brings. So listen, as I always tell you, you say it's yours.
Let's go get it.
I'll see y'all next week. Peace.